you, Jesus Christ, for giving us a life, health, and strength, allowing us to live in such a blessed and prosperous land, allowing us to be able to do what we do on a daily basis. So we give him thanks first and foremost. Well, here I am in front of another great group of strong conservative Republicans who are ready to take the state of North Carolina back from the hands of Roy Cooper. And keep it out of the hands of a guy named Josh Stein. So, guys, I think just about everybody in this room has heard me speak. You know where I stand on the issues. You know where I stand on the issue. Now, you're going to hear a lot of people who are running around the state right now questioning my commitment to my stand on the things that I've already stood for. You see, what infuriates me about some of my primary opponents is this. They have the unmitigated gall. One of them has the unmitigated gall to try to call me an anti-Semite. Are you kidding me? He says, you don't stand with Israel. Actually, both of them are saying that. You don't stand with Israel. Let me tell you something about standing with Israel. A month after the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust, Mark Robinson wasn't just standing with Israel. Mark Robinson was standing in Israel with the Israeli people. And how dare either one of you try to bring up some old Facebook post because you have a problem comprehending the English language. And that's for both of them. Number two is this. They all want to talk about how conservative they are. Where's your conservative fight that you've been staging? Either one of them, show me your conservative fight. Show me where you were on the day that I stood on the porch of the Lieutenant Governor's mansion and had to face down the press because I had the audacity to call pornography being presented to our children filth. Where were you? You see, we have a problem sometimes in this party. We're big, tough fighters when it comes to fighting other Republicans. But then when it's time to stand in front of the Democrats, we become shrinking violets. We become people who think that we should grab a cup of tea and have a conversation. Those strong conservative fighters seem to disappear into the ether when it counts. I've been able to stand and stand firm and stand tall on the things that I believe, and I'm going to continue to do so. I make sure that I tell folks. I make sure that I tell people about what our campaign is going to be about. And you make no mistake about what our campaign is going to be about. It's going to be about two things. It's going to be about the two things that will take North Carolina to its next great height. And that is our economy and our education system. Those are the things that our campaign, our administration will be about. You look at that economy, where are we at? Where are we at prior to 2010, Jeffrey? $3.4 billion in the hole to the federal government. Nobody wanted to come here and do business. Taxes were too high, regulations were too stiff. Didn't give teachers a raise for 6 years. Not because we didn't want to, but because we couldn't. Furloughing state workers the same way. We needed them, but couldn't pay them. We were dead broke. Conservatives took over. Now, a lot of people like to tell you there's no difference between the Republican Party, no difference between conservatives and liberals. I beg to differ. Conservatives operate on principles. We put principles inside our policies that yield the desired result. Leftists operate off of ideas. And ideas are great. But if you put no principle behind them, they'll never be a reality. You know, I've got an idea. I'm going to fly my Suburban home when I go get it. How many of y'all know that could work? But if I wanted to, I'm going to have to put some scientific principle behind it and some physical principles behind it to make it happen. You can't just wish it so. That's what we do on our side of the aisle. We put principle with policy. We get great results. Anybody who doesn't believe that, you take a look at the state of California and how it's run. Then take a look at the state of Florida. Take a look at the state of New York and compare it to how it's run, how we run things here in North Carolina. Even with that crazy Democrat governor we got, we have a strong supermajority in our legislature that's overridden him 19 times to keep the good times going here. And that legislature has laid the groundwork for organic growth in this state that continues to build our economy to what it can be. But here's what I believe we need to do. We need to get out. We need to come out of Raleigh. And we need to start going into the places that are growing. Go into the places that can grow. And we need to start making sensible investments into the people and the places in this state so that we can build an economy that spans from Murphy to Manio. No more segmented economy here in North Carolina. We can start that process now. And I'm bound and determined to see that happen. One of the most shocking things that I saw when I was running for lieutenant governor is exactly how fragmented our economy is. We can start the process now to bring that to an end. So that no matter where you stand, whether you're in Wake County, whether or not you're in, what's that one out there that's way out there? Hyde County. No matter where you are, New Hanover County, what matter, Johnson County, out in the west, Buncombe County, it doesn't matter where you stand in North Carolina. We want you to have the ability to make a great life, have a great career, and build a family and be successful. And it starts with making sensible investments into the people and places in this state to help the growth continue, the organic growth that's been caused by our legislature and that policy that's full of principle. Now, the second part of the thing we're going to be standing up for in our campaign is education. Because you can't have a great economy if you don't have a great workforce to feed that economy. Right now in North Carolina, education is in a pretty bad place. Now, why would I say that? I say that because of the worst statistic that exists in this state. I believe it is this. We spend 59%, roughly 59% of our state budget, the entire state budget, on public education. And our children can't read on a grade level. That is not a passing grade. In fact, I count that as an F. But here's the deal. It's not an F that I'm going to lay at the feet of our teachers or on the desk of our teachers. Our teachers did not create the system that they are working in. They're not paid well. They're not protected. They're not respected. How can I hold them to a professional standard if I'm not doing those three things? We've got to change the way we treat our teachers in this state. And we've got to do something in this state that I believe is crucial to turn our education system around, and here it is. We have got to have accountability at the top. Yes. Accountability at the top is key. Let me explain to you what I mean. Most of you all went to the polls. I'm sure all of y'all went to the polls in 2020. You voted for somebody that's supposed to be over public education. The state superintendent is the person that you voted for. You believe that that person is going to go to Raleigh, and that person is going to be in charge of administering education in the state. They're going to do the things that need to be done to make sure that your children are properly educated. Well, let me give you some sad news. The state superintendent in this state does not hold the power when it comes to education. Currently, she is over an agency called DPI. Within DPI, she has about 12 people she can hire and fire. Everybody else is simply there doing their thing. The power in education lies with our state school board. And besides me, and besides the state treasurer, 2 elected officials who sit on that board, and then there's the state superintendent herself who sits on the state school board, but cannot vote. The others are made up of folks who are appointed to their positions. And they are appointed to 8-year terms. And they are untouchable and unaccountable. They're not accountable to you or me or any teacher or anyone. Folks, we got to change that. We have to change the structure of education in this state. I don't care if we have to change our state constitution. I don't care how we have to do it. But I know that our legislature is ready to tackle it. They're ready to get it done. to bring some accountability at the highest level, because if there's any institution where accountability needs to be in place, where success needs to be rewarded, and failure needs to be held to account, it is in education. Because education is literally the future of our state and nation. And here in North Carolina, we need to set the standard. Because guys, we got to get rid of this agenda-driven education. We got to get these communists out of the classroom. We got to get these sexual perverts out of our classroom. See, the press is going to tell you that I hate people, and I hate everybody. I hate gay people and straight people, people who walk, people who drive cars, people who walk upright. They're going to tell you I hate everybody. I don't hate anyone. And I am a fierce defender of people's rights, even if their behavior may offend my spiritual sensibilities. I'm still going to protect your constitutional right to be who you want to be in your own skin and in your own home and declare who you are. Now, I'd be darned if I'll stand still while anybody attack you because of who you are. Now, I'll be fine with keeping my politics out of your bedroom. But you best believe you better keep your bedroom out of my classroom. So this is about setting the standards for our children and protecting our children and making sure that we get back to classical education, reading, writing, mathematics, civics, history, real history, not the 1619 project, real history. Not having things in the school that pit children against each other by sex and by gender and by race. Teaching our children civics, how to operate inside of this constitutional republic. Stop telling them they live in a democracy. We're a constitutional republic with a democratic process. Start teaching them how to operate inside of that. And here's a big one. It's time for us to focus on getting our children, here it is, career ready. Notice what I said. Can I say this enough? I did not say college ready. I said career ready. That means when you get 12th grade and you leave that school, you are equipped with the tools that you need. And if you want to go to a 4-year university, you're ready to go. But we need to start reminding our children what universities are for. Universities are not for getting drunk and partying, having a good time. University is a serious proposition where you're supposed to be going to pursue a career to become a professional. This is not Animal House. We need to stop telling our children that college is supposed to be, quote, fun. You know, I told the last group, when I joined the Army, my recruiter did not tell me that basic training was going to be fun. He didn't see me there and say, yeah, you're going to love basic training. Your drill sergeant's going to get right here in your face, and his breath is going to smell like the devil's feet. And he's going to make you do push-ups all day long. You're probably going to, have a few rough nights, but it'll be great. You'll love it. There was none of that. We didn't sugarcoat it. They told us what to expect. And here it is. They told us why we were going. And we knew why we were going. Our children need to be the same way when it comes to 4-year university degrees, so that they don't come out saddled with debt, unable to find a job in their chosen professions, that they have a purpose and a plan when they go. But we also need to tell our children this. You don't have to go to a 4-year university to get a great career. Not job, career. Right. You can go to a community college. Come out debt-free as a mechanic, a welder, a plumber, a construction worker, whatever it may be, and have a lifelong skill that will provide you with a fantastic career. Whatever it is you plan on doing, a K-12 education should prepare you to do it. Whether you're going to a 4-year university, a community college, the United States military, the family business, or starting your own business. We need to get you ready. And those are the two things, folks, we're going to focus on in our campaign. And those are going to be the two things that we are going to focus on in our administration. And we're going to focus on all the things that build those things and make them great. Now, let me reiterate. Because we're focusing on education and focusing on education, on our economy and on education, that does not mean we have lost sight of the things we believe in. I'm sure that if I'm elected in 2020, later this year, November, in 2025, after I take office, somebody's going to come to me and they're going to ask me about, going to say, well, Governor, what about men competing against women in sports? Men being able to swim and run and play basketball and wrestle against, in women's sports. And I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, did you not hear me for the last 4 years what I'm saying? Which one you want? You want the short answer or the long answer? The short answer is no. The long answer is no. There will be no discussion of such. We're not going to talk about it here in North Carolina. We've already passed a law. If we need to pass another one, we will. We're going to defend women's sports in this state, period. We're going to defend women in this state. That means if you're a man on Friday night and all of a sudden Saturday you feel like a woman and you want to go in the women's bathroom in the mall, you will be arrested. But what if we don't do you? We're going to protect our women. We're going to protect them in sports and we're going to protect them in public. We're not going to talk about these things. We've already visited them. We've already done this. We're not going to have these conversations. There is too much work to be done for the people of North Carolina for us to sit around and squabble about such things. We've made our position on those things clear. We've made our position clear that we will protect people's constitutional rights. But I can tell you this. These foolish moves to destroy women's sports and to bring pornography into our schools through these hidden agendas, we are not going to do it. The answer is no. And one more thing. And I'm not going to shy away from this one at all either. The Democrats want us to shy away from this abortion issue. And they want us to talk about the abortion issue. And they want us to say abortion at our schools, and in our churches, and to our children, and in the public square. They want us to say that word, abortion, abortion, abortion. I'm not all about abortion. So I'm not going to talk about abortion. I'm going to talk about what I believe in. And what I believe in is the word life. That's what I believe in. And let me make myself plain on this. I've already come to this realization as an individual, as a Christian, as a believer. I know this for a fact. I can pass all the laws I want when it comes to that. People still gonna do it. Still gonna find a way to go do it. Just tell them if they can't do it here, they'll go to South Carolina. They'll go to Georgia. They'll go wherever they can. You see, as a believer, I have a firm belief of one thing. One thing. That I've been coming at this thing wrong. I've been fighting against abortion instead of fighting for life. We have to fight to build a culture of life. It starts, yes, with sensible restrictions like North Carolina has passed, where we move from 20 weeks to 12 weeks. It starts with sensible restrictions like what I would love to see in this state, a heartbeat bill. But it goes way, 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 way beyond that. I can't stand here and talk about and tell people, I don't want you to have an abortion, and stand up on stage and say you can't have an abortion, and then not worry about what happens to the citizens of this state while they're in the womb. Once they come out of the womb. Once they're young adults and they're in school. Once they're young people with young families. And when they're elderly and spending their golden years. The way you build a culture of life, I believe, is this. You fight for every single life in the womb. That means you partner with crisis pregnancy centers and others who are on the ground trying to save those babies. And then you make changes to our daycare system, our adoption system, our healthcare system. You make those changes in our society that helps young families to be able to grow. You build a culture that makes people look at the state of North Carolina and say, I don't want to go there and have an abortion. I want to go there and have my baby because they care about life. That's what we want to do. Tell you sincerely, as an elected official, I do not want to be the person that stands on the stage and screams down at some young girl who's in crisis and tell her she cannot have an abortion. I want to be the person that stands on that stage and comes off of it, puts my arm around her, and tell her why she should, and tell her what I can do as an elected official to make her life better, and her child's life better, and her family's life better. And I do not want to be the kind of Christian who believes that the law is going to solve this. Because I believe as a Christian, the greatest witness we can have as Christians in this nation is that we clean the abortion clinics out, not with the law, but with the love of Jesus Christ. So, we're going to continue to stand firm on the principle of life. Stand for life. We're going to continue to stand on the things that we just talked about. Now, before I close out, I'll be remiss if I didn't mention, again, my primary opponents. Now, one of my primary opponents, I've never said anything bad about it. One thing I've ever said about one of my primary opponents is he's a great state treasurer. And now, I'm not going to change that now because he's running against me for governor. One thing I have to say to him is best of luck. You've been a great state treasurer. Now, my other opponent, a fellow named Graham, I believe his name. I have nothing but disdain for this individual. Let me tell you why. This man attacked the very foundations of North Carolina's economy and the very foundation of our national security by filing 500 lawsuits against North Carolina farmers. He made millions of dollars doing it. And now he's using those millions of dollars to run for governor so that he can try to run this state. A man who literally took the food out of farmers' mouths and tried to take the food off of your table so that you'd be forced to buy food from Mexico and China and God knows where so that he could get rich and his family could get rich, is now using the money to run for governor. Let me tell you this. If I wasn't running for governor, if I was just an ordinary citizen, I would go on a campaign to run this guy out of town. He's not worthy to be a dog catcher in North Carolina, much less the governor. Hear him try to call me an anti-Semite. But I stood in front of cameras and declared unity with the Israeli people and stood in Israel while there were rockets being fired, while artillery was going off in the fight, and stood there with commanders on the ground in Israel a month after. It's despicable. He is a liar first class, and I have no qualms about saying that. And I'm not the kind of person who's all about winning an election, but I can tell you this right now. March the 5th, it would make me extremely happy if I could do him the same way my mama used to do me sometimes. Hold him by one arm and beat him in a circle. And send him to his room with no circle. But North Carolina doesn't need a guy who tried to scoop farmers out of existence. It's time for us to stand up and start electing people to office who actually care about the people of North Carolina, not themselves. So guys, I would encourage you. This primary is over. Let's all get together. Let's all get unified. Because we have to win in November. We have to win in November. This state cannot stand a Josh Stein. This nation cannot stand 4 more years of Joe Biden. Lord, have mercy. I don't know if Joe Biden can stand 4 more years of Joe Biden. know, these guys go into the presidency looking young and fresh and come out looking old and wrinkled. He went in looking old and wrinkled. You know what? He's going to come out looking like. But we can't stand 4 more years of open borders and begging our enemies for fuel and being beholden to our enemies overseas. We need strong, bold leadership, guys. Let's get together and win in November. Failure is not an option. We have got to do this. So God bless you guys for being here. God bless Wake County.